Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Let Me Ask You This podcast. I am your host, E.B. Hepworth, and I'm so grateful that you're here. I kick every single episode off by saying this, but thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You could be anywhere and you're choosing to be here listening to this conversation. And I want you to know it's not lost on me. It's truly a gift. And it is my prayer that this conversation will invite you to walk closer with Jesus. I'm really excited about today's episode because I met my spirit animal. I think I met somebody that I am going to be calling weekly for the rest of my life. It is Lisa Jennett. Some people call her a sunshine. She has grandkids that call her Momo. Oh my gosh, I love this woman. And for those of you who do not know Lisa yet, she's an author, a storyteller. I like to think of her as an ultimate noticer, an encourager, just one of those people that you're like, somehow you are making me laugh and think deeply in the same breath. And that is a form of art. She has lived a beautiful, layered, wildly interesting life, and she carries this really tender ability to just see God in places that most of us often miss. Lisa is the author of When I Last Saw Me, and her writing is honest, it's quirky, it's reflective, it's just, honestly, it's just full of the kind of wisdom that only comes from living the dang thing, you know what I'm saying? But in this episode, we talk about life, that fragile, holy, unexpected nature of life, and the way it does not always get easier just because we get older or quote unquote wiser or more familiar with suffering even. But somehow in the middle of this thing that we call life, the kindness of God just somehow becomes more evident. Not even louder or tighter, but just more evident. And so this conversation, it just felt like I was sitting at a table with someone who has learned how to laugh and with tears still in their eyes and just trust God without needing life to make perfect sense. I feel like I've known Lisa all my life. Like we got to talk on the phone for about an hour before pressing record. And I was like, okay, I'm going to love this lady for the rest of my dang life. And I think that you are going to too. Her humor, her tenderness, the way she invites you to notice the mercy of God right there in the middle of your very real, ordinary life. So pull up a chair. I'm so glad you're here. Here is my conversation with my beautiful friend, Lisa Jennett. Okay, well, Lisa, you are like such an anomaly for people who don't know you and they're just tuning in to the podcast for the first time. How would you describe yourself and how you spend your days?
I would describe myself as tall, dark, and handsome. Oh no, that's someone else. There's a little bit of humor there. I'm 5 foot tall. All my brothers were 6 foot tall. But I also, when I was little, if you ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would tell you I wanted to be a Mexican. So I always wanted to be dark. I wanted your hair. I wanted your skin. I wanted brown eyes. What is this whole anemic blue eyes? When there's brown available, you gave me. Yeah. So anyway,
well, he invented you in your words.
I would describe me as kind of big vision person, just like tanks, like, because I can't separate the plan from the speed of the plan. So the minute I have an idea, I want everybody on board and I want to move 100 miles an hour. And it doesn't matter if I was wrong. We'll figure it out.
Do you think that's a female thing? Because I struggle with the same thing. What is that?
No, it's not a female thing because I have a son that's exactly that. Exactly that. And his wife feels as terrorized as my tank. Yes. They're just like.
It's just, we need like intercession teams just for the people that partner with that. Yeah.
So I think it would be easy to say I'm observant. I'm an includer, deeply empathetic. If you started telling me that you broke my arm, I would have to hold my own arm and go. I'd have to get my breath.
Yeah.
I'm I've shifted from being kind of a survivor to being a thriver. And I think that about sums it up.
Well, tell me about that. What was the shift from survivor to thriver? What's the context behind that?
Probably because I spent my whole life being a white knuckler. I can do it. I can do all things. And it wasn't wrong. I figured everything out that it like presented itself. And then, all of my life since I probably had my first job when I was about 8. And so anything was possible. And my big words in life are Monday. I love a Monday. It's my favorite day of the week. Monday's my favorite day because everything I didn't get done or everything I totally jacked last week, Monday's like the grace of the business world. Fresh start. Let's just go at it again. I love fail. Fail is just terrific. because if I tried it and didn't get it right, I know what I did. We can either try again or say, that was lame. I'm not even going to try that again. So I love fail. I love to be around people who do fail. I love skin knees in the business world. I love skin knees in the married world, the kid world, parenting, all of it. I just love a good scar. And then, yes, my big word is probably yes. Yes is not hard for me. It's just, you're like, hey, do you want to be on my iPodcast? Which it's not on an iPodcast. It's called just Pod. So I'm like, yeah, I don't care what you're going to talk about. I don't care if you're having me on because you want to make fun of me. Yes, the answer is yes. You want to have me on and bully me? Okay, let's do it. Bring it on. So I think that I spent my whole life white knuckling my way through life. And then when I did fall in love with the triplets, it shifted so much that I realized I'm not actually by myself. I just thought I was. And that there's a lot more to carry into the next life if I can get to heels, if I can get to a relationship with things that sucked with a jumbo straw, then it becomes thrive. Strive is contagious. You can make a lot of people around you really tense by they gotta survive me. But then there's thrive is a whole different kind of invitation, and it's a whole different kind of include where people have permission to do all those things. Monday is a grace. Fail is a win. Yes is probably the right answer. So that would be the shift.
Yeah.
When I fell in love with the triplets, it moved from the white knuckle to the handheld.
I'm thinking of people who will kind of get off the exit with Thrive and then they get back onto the Survivor and then they get off back into the Thrive and then they get back and they're kind of doing the tango dance with it. Was that a part of your story, or was it a slow off ramp onto thriving and then you stayed there?
Mostly I stay there. There are absolute minutes where I don't believe that he trusts me. So I feel like, okay, I gotta prove I'm trustworthy, but that doesn't stay very long because I think sometimes you have something that's an experience and sometimes you have something that's an encounter and it's kind of short lived. And then something comes along where I was absolutely transformed. And so the memory shifted, all the pathways shifted of how I think and how I process and how I pay attention. And so when I feel myself kind of going crap, and then I find myself going, that doesn't actually work anymore. Kind of lost my skill set or survive.
Yeah.
So when I started shifting, and in some ways I shifted like immediately. And in some ways I had to go, oh, I see what I'm doing. What are the alternatives? And so I had to kind of get a lot of training from heaven on, well, that's you being an orphan, because an orphan is anytime I want to provide my own provide. Anytime I want to provide my own protect. Right. Anytime I provide my own comfort. So which one are you doing? Well, I'm moving into X. Yeah, well, you're not an orphan. So, slap me naked, hide my clothes, put me back out there and go, okay, try again.
Yeah.
And so I do think that when we try to be thrivers on our own, that I'm probably going to do that, dodging traffic.
Absolutely.
But if I'm doing thrive because I got invented to thrive, I got invented to be like best friends with the kid that invented thrive, then I'm not going to leave that willingly.
For sure.
And it doesn't mean things don't frighten me. It doesn't mean that I have to process real quickly and go, okay, this is going to be really hard. However, this is going to be really hard and a lot of fun, or this is just going to be really hard. What are we going to pick?
Yeah. And it goes back to your 3 words, thrive, fail, and yes. So I'll thrive. Well, I fail in my attempt to thrive for sure. And then also it comes back to Mondays. We get a restart, baby.
Yeah, Monday. Yeah. It's,
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What would you say to the person who's listening that's like, dude, I can't get a grip. Like, there's no handlebars on this thing with God. Like, what do I hold on to? Like Lisa's saying, like, she was, verbally, I was an orphan. Now I don't get to be an orphan. Like, for the person who's looking for handlebars, what would you say to that person? Yeah, people use that word, God loves you, Jesus loves you. It's funny. We say that instead of just saying, hey, by the way, I really love you. And totally.
I'm standing there. So if I say in the immediate of a crisis, if somebody says, well, remember, God loves you, oh, bite me. But if you could say with all of your might, hey, right now, I just want you to remember, I really love you. Yeah, you're not doing this great, but I still love you. Yeah. That word love gets kind of tossed around and then somebody tries to give it like New Testament. Is it agape love? Is it filial love? No, here's the word that landed for me that makes that handlebar so easy to hang on to. was one of those guys on the streams was talking about that word love, and he said, it's affection. And when it became, that made it very tangible. So when the triplets say that they love me, this thing about affection, and we don't actually have to have kids to know what affection is.
Totally.
We don't even have to have been someone's kid that we knew we were liked to know what affection is. Sometimes it's just, a grin. Sometimes it's a school teacher. Sometimes it just kind of varies. But there's been moments in everybody's life where they've gone, oh, that felt great. And it actually felt right. I may not deserve it, but I'm going to hang on to that. So the handlebar becomes, for me, the word had to be shifted from do I know about affection? And for a long time, I didn't, and I had to kind of try and fail. Is this your affection? Is this your affection? And so as affection isn't, that word bless, we think affection, we think if he loves us, he's going to bless us, right? That kid, he's the guy that made the message, Eugene Peterson. So he was researching that word bless, right? Because he's like, doesn't make sense that it would be prosperity. So he's like researching this word, and he finds out that bless means a new compass and a change of direction, right? So think of that kid, Jake, right? So Jake's got all these blessings. He gets born. He's a mama's boy. Mama's always saying, hey, you're going to get the blessing, right? So his brother comes in starving and trades his birthright for a bowl of gumbo, right? And then he gets dressed as like Chewbacca from Star Wars, right? He gets another one. Then his dad's like, well, crap, now I got to give you your own. We're at least 4. Then he marries 2 girls. So he got a couple more blessings. So we know he's got like gobs of blessing, but he's completely not content. And he's a gangster.
Yeah.
He's a total gangster the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's out in that wilderness moment, and he goes for this, he's losing his family. He's got one wife here and their kids and all his camel. Everybody's divided up. And it's just him. I don't know if it's just him or him and 50 good servants. I don't know. But he decides he's going to duke it out with the Lord real death. And he's like, no, I don't want you to leave until you bless me. He's got blessing. Why did he ask for that instead of, a new town, or his brother Esau gets killed along the way instead of killing him? Why did he ask for the blessing? But he'd made himself heartsick the way he was doing things. And he was calling, he was still calling Yahweh the God that Abraham loved and Isaac feared. But he didn't have a word for how he felt about that. And so he's just like, no, man, I want a new direction. I want a new sense. I want a new compass.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, here's your compass. Here's your lamp. Go your way. And by the way, everyone will know your name from now till forever, because we're going to name the whole nation that name. Talk about a compass. Dude, never gave me that compass. But I do think that there's this fabulous thing of when we're trying to figure out how to thrive, how to be in a relationship, how to accept affection, that willingness to just go, okay. And we have a lack of familiarity because so many of us have parents that they just kind of missed the mark and gave up. All parents have missed the mark. We just don't need to give up. We just need to keep going. And so that beauty of just going, okay, show me, that's my prayer every day, is show me something I've never seen before today. This day, show me something I've never seen before. And one of those is, hey, have you seen this map? Have you seen this compass? So you want to go on a road trip?
Yeah, for real.
I'm in.
For real. Oh man, that's so good. And I'm thinking like even the thread of your story and the thread of Jacob, the story you just shared, it's like one of the common threads there is honesty. And it's like, and that's why, like I quote Brandon Manning a lot, but it's like he says he can't heal a fake version of you. You have to be honest.
Right.
He says unscarred people don't remind you of the rabbi. You have to have scars. And so it's like being honest about your scars, being honest about your fears, being honest about, hey, what you've given me, it's still not doing it, Lord. I want a new name. I want to, and like that wrestle with honesty is like, I think what leads to that thriving of like, okay, if I can bear the reality of what's in here to the ultimate reality there, who is reality, okay, then that's going to increase trust. And, I'm probably going to yield a little bit more tenderly, Yeah.
And to know that he actually trusts us first makes it easier to trust him back. And we don't really grasp that way. Why would you trust me? You've seen the track record. What is wrong with you trusting me?
I know what I'm capable of. Therefore, I know you know. So this is making your decisions questionable.
Yes, right.
And he's like, I love you and I like you and I trust you.
I trust you. And here's a
Here.
smooch. Let me kiss you on top of the head. You're
Totally.
so
Totally. It's so like God. Man. Okay. Well, one of the things is that you carry this joyful, kind of honest, quirky thing, but you hold a story that has a lot of caverns of pain, right? And so, what has Jesus taught you about joy that meant you didn't have to deny the reality of your story? And, you're talking about scars. Like, how do you look at your scars and not hate them, but be able to recognize that they form, the faith and the person you are today?
Well, along the lines of my quirkiness, I have some theories. They may not be theology, but they start with the same prefix.
Let's hear it.
Well, I think we do get to take it with us. We
Yeah.
always say, oh, you can't take it with you. I think we take it all with us. And so that business of growing glory is a big deal to the kingdom, big deal to the Lord real dad, or he wouldn't say it. And so, but we don't get to know what the glory is, right? The ultimate faith. I don't know what a glory is, but I know I'm supposed to grow with it or somewhere it's in the big picture. And that glory is here. Glory is on the other side of the kingdom. It's on you cross the paradise line and we get to be part of some cosmic coolness that makes forever bigger all the time. First commandment.
Yeah.
Go forth and multiply. Don't add.
Yeah.
Multiply. Multiplying is always going to be harder work, especially as the numbers get bigger. But that business of knowing that anything I can deal with him honestly with here means that when I get to the other side of the paradise line, I get to, there's a thing in Ephesians where he talks about we are ultimately the professors to all rank and throne of angels. And that's not a hard math. An angel never gets to do a forgive. An angel looks at us with like, you guys get to do a forgive?
Yeah.
I've never gotten to do one. You've gotten to do a grief. I've never gotten to do a grief. So an angel, we all have these angels that are making a pray for us and they keep a watch on us. The Father is there as well, but it's so cool that he sends these little alsos, and the alsos are the angels. So one day I'll be on the other side of the paradise line and an angel will be making a pray for a mom burying her children. And he'll be like, listen, I know how to pray from here, from holy, from what I believe about the Father, but I don't know anything about what she's going through right now. I don't know what she's feeling or facing or how angry she looks angry. I don't get it. And he's going to turn around into heaven. He goes, I got something I don't know anything about. And is anybody here buried children?
Dang, Lisa.
10,000 of us are going to come to the edge of heaven and look, and we're going to go, oh, it's twins. Okay, that cuts half of us out. Okay.
I'm up, Lord.
Girls, right? Okay, well, that narrows it down a little more. Okay. And she doesn't believe. She's not, narrows it down a little bit more. Who's left? Well, there'll be a dozen of us going, I was there. This is what she's thinking. This is what she's feeling. This is what she's actually angry about. Then the heaven comes to earth from the other side. We get to bring heaven down all the time. We forget that when we get dead, we're going to get to take earth to heaven. So the business of finishing the journey, not to particularly finding it a happy thing, but joy is something we borrow. Joy is on that list of the fruit of the Spirit that we're not probably supposed to dissect that thing. It's a complete package. It's not like I can make a pray for, well, give me joy today, give me patience. It's the holding Spirit, and it's one thing. So if I'm only dad pray for a joy, I got to be willing to take all the stuff that goes with it. You got to persevere. You got to be gentle. You got to be kind. All the things I'm not good at.
Yeah, that long suffering that never comes out in me.
But I don't think joy should be aligned with Lisa's in a good mood or she's a perseverer or she's overcomer or anyway.
Her bills were paid this month. She'll be joyful.
Right. Because that's not joyness. That's happiness.
Yeah. And that'll.
Joyness is the joy of the Lord is where I get some of my strong. It's his joy. It's kind of like it's his fear, the fear of the Lord. It's his. So when I'm afraid, it's from the friends of hell. But when I'm hitting on fear, holy fear, I'm hitting on something that belongs to him and he'll loan it to me for a moment. He'll loan me his joy for a moment because I need a way to be stronger than I'm feeling right now. So that's all I have to say.
So how do you reconcile when, we're conditioned as humans to want the emotion to be congruent with the fruit? So I can be joyful, But how do you reconcile when you just feel like crap? You're like, dang, like, and you're just stressed over real normal stressful things. Like, Lisa, I'm not going to pay my bills this month. Like my gas got shut off, or I lost custody of my kid, or like when the rubber hits the road and life is real. How do we hold joy despite like the crap of life?
Well, I think we have permission to not be joyful all the time.
Yeah.
I think sometimes in that believer people world, the church lady world, there's an expectation that because I'm going to heaven one day and because Jesus uncovered all my crimes, that I'm supposed to be grateful all the time. I'm supposed to be joyful all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think that's reality in the human condition. And I think
I think Jesus modeled that.
yeah, it's like, dude, some days it's just going to suck with a jumbo straw. Let it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let it. And be all the way human, because the gig is so many beings never get to be a human.
Yeah.
So many beings are not ever going to get to do the human run at all. This earth suit adventure is such a cool thing. I'm sorry, I keep doing that. I'll refrain from my word choice, but there's such a coolness about it. But there's also permission to be all the way in the earth suit and not know what to do. If I knew what to do, if I knew how to be joyful all the time, would I need the Lord will die? Would I need the blood of the Lamb? Would I need the Holy Spirit to belly up and comfort me? No. So the joy does have to be, I have to be willing to ask for it and ask for it and ask for it. And know that I don't want to ask for it, and it's still okay. He still digs me. He still invented me. He knows exactly how he invented me. And just that willingness, it's kind of looks like a fail, but it's just a willingness to be
honest.
Just to make the confess, really.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it. I mean, Christ made no crimes while he was here, but he still had to confess to his dad. If there's another way to do this, I wouldn't mind that we pick a different cup. And in that moment of confess, like, this is misery coming at me, man. What did the Lord your dad do? Held the promise that they had made, and he kept it. He kept it really close. But he also sent somebody else who'd done the earth suit. He sent Elijah. He sent Mo, so they could say, yeah, this is not going to be fun. But your dad kept the promise. He's holding the promise. And we're going to stay here right with you. He sent us because he knew your good buddies would go to sleep because they're still in the earth suit.
Yeah.
We've done it. We've completed it. So he'll send us what we need if we're willing to go. I didn't make a crime, but I'm just so sad. I didn't make a crime, but I'm just so frustrated. I didn't make a crime, but I'm just disappointed. I'm embarrassed, rejected.
Yeah.
He'll send somebody.
Yeah.
And then he's so cool that he'll send somebody. He might send you to me. He might send, somebody that's already got dead and say, remember that time your grandfather said? Actually, I do. He just sent the words of my grandfather, or he sent the words of my school teacher. It's dead cool. The whole planet is just dead cool.
It really is.
It isn't supposed to be without pain. We're supposed to feel these things because he felt them first. And I don't mean the Christ. I mean, the Lord your dad felt them first. Okay, we're going to make humans.
Right.
But we're not going to assign them to come back to heaven. We're going to let them. So he has dealt with rejection and disappointment from day one.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I get it.
Yeah.
It's sad when you have to walk someone to the gate and say, I love you, I love you, I love you. And I've trained you up for the next. I love you, I love you, I love you. And here's some clothes. And I love you, I love you, I love you. And you're equipped and I love you. You're equipped and I love you. I'm still sad. So we just get to kind of do the same thing.
Yeah. Gosh, it's so true. That confession of humanity and just being like, this is where I'm at, God. This sucks. Like, even I think of Jesus on the cross, like he didn't ask these questions behind God's back. His questions were bent to the Father, saying, Lord, why have you forsaken me? Like, it was to God, and I think, not talking behind his back, but just talking directly to him. It's like, there's something there, and that honesty will just carve out. It's not like you're going to, again, the emotional congruency, it's not always going to be this like, oh, I feel better. But that's the kind of like ninja sauce of joy and peace even, is like, it doesn't make any sense. It's totally this like secret Chick-fil-A like there's just, you're like, wait, like this doesn't make any sense. My life, I'm sitting here in more ashes than answers. And yet there's this joy. And it's like, it's this fingerprint, this like little like sprinkle of evidence of like, dang God, you are real. Cause this does not make logical sense. You know,
it's going to be all right.
It's going to be all right.
Is it going to be all right? Yeah, it's going to be all right. That's going to be a tough role. That's going to be a tough departure. That's going to be a tough divorce. It's going to be all right.
Yeah, totally. Well, a lot of people, you keep talking about like kind of that experience of being loved by God and even being liked by God. I talk a lot about that of like, for a long time, I knew how to love God, but I didn't know how to let him love me. And so in your journey, how have you seen that play out of learning how to like actually allow God to love you?
I think a big part of it has been realizing part of the deal for me was taking stock. So after I fell in love with the triplets, and one of my big questions was with him was like, where were you, man? And why did you drop us into this family? And you didn't take care of the brothers, and you didn't take. And he really just began to kind of show me places that he had absolutely taken care of me. He'd absolutely protected me. He didn't have control over the humanity going on around me, but he gave me, I keep going back to teachers. There were teachers in my life that it wasn't a time, I'm in my 60s. So in the 1960s, teachers didn't do that. You didn't draw attention to a family that looked awkward. But if they did notice, they took a different care with me. There were, when I'm in a scrimmage marriage, I moved to Scotland, and my father-in-law was just this fabulous human being, not a believer on any level. But my gosh, did Josie Pye love me. And so when even getting to move to Scotland, even though the marriage didn't last but a dozen years, that time in Scotland to stand in the Highlands, to walk my dog, to make a lot of money, to meet a lot of people, to travel wherever if it was too rainy and cold, I'd get on a plane and go to Paris for lunch just to see the sunshine. It was a great time. But there were all these opportunities of just particularly standing on the land of just, okay, there is probably a goodness. I didn't ever not believe there was a God. I just didn't like him. And so standing on that land and taking in the outrageous beauty was like, okay, there's something about him that's probably maybe kind of in a way a little bit, okay, good, maybe. And so those ways that I know how she works, we're going to send her here. I know how she thinks, I know how she feels, I know how she processes, we're going to drop this person into her life. And so after I became a believer, people to go back and go, okay, you weren't absent. I didn't like you, so I'm talking to you, but you were so there.
Yeah, you were not absent.
So I knew then that he really had always, he didn't not love me just because I did not love him. He kept loving me.
Right.
And so when I realized, oh gosh, that's what love is when nobody loves you back.
That's for sure.
And I didn't love him back, but he can't not love me. That's just, that messed me up.
Oh man, that will mess anyone up. And then once you start riding with him for a couple decades and you learn the other side of that, Romans 8 context of like, okay, nothing I did that was a really bad decision withheld your love.
Right.
But now, 2 decades later, now I'm learning nothing I do will make you love me more. It doesn't matter if So then you start riding with your homies long enough where you're like, wait, so if I adopt more kids, or if I feed more orphans, or if I, take in more homeless, or if I start more ministries or preach more crusades, wait, you're not going to love me more if I do those things?
Right. Yeah.
Well, that will mess the other side of the...
Exactly. Your love is 100%. The end.
Always.
Yeah.
That's it. Yep. Yeah. No commas. Exclamation point.
Yeah. Mic
drop. The mic.
Yeah.
Yes. Because it's like you just sit there and it's like all of a sudden you get all pumped up on your relationship with Jesus of he loved me when I didn't love him. Isn't this amazing? And then that working out of the salvation is like, wait, also It's just permanent and chosen regardless. And that doesn't mean that the expression of my faith should not mean lending a hand to those that need help. My faith should clothe the naked, and it should feed the hungry, and it should sit with the ones that chain smoke, and it should but that doesn't make him love me more.
Yeah.
And there's something hard.
It's all for the objective of glory, because the love is already
Totally.
in place. And I get a chance to, what a cool deal. I've been invited to make glory bigger. I've been invited to make forever longer. I don't have to question, level one. It's like the Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs, right?
Yeah.
Love is in place. You got food, you got shelter, you got clothes. That's what love is. It's just that. Here's the basics. I love you. Now go forth and multiply.
Exactly.
And it's not going to make it's only going to make glory bigger. And I'm inviting you to be a part of the thing that I cannot tell you about, because there's no words. It would become meaningless. But I'm going to invite you into the most precious of things.
100%. Like, my job as somebody who was adopted from the Lord is to pull out the chair and get as many people as I can at that dinner party.
Yeah.
I'm just, and it's out of a place of, I know what it's like. I've been there, and just pulling out chairs left and right. Like, this spot was for you, my girl, or, hey, dude, this is your seat, rightfully to take it, That's so good. Well, I want to touch on this a little bit, because a big part of your story that I love so much is your emphasis on forgiveness, which, kind of feels like maybe to some listening feels like a rated R word. And then other people, it feels like, well, that's just, that's what comes with God. And, you just forgive. But how did you live out? And for context, you have a story that's soaked with pain in regards to your father. But how did you unpack the journey of forgiveness despite what you had walked in for so long? I mean, was it a moment of just, I forgive, or how did you work through kind of all of the layers that forgiveness holds?
Forgiveness is another one of those things that we think we have to do, and all of heaven is thinking we get to do. Beginning to kind of realize, it's a very cool thing to get to do that. And then realizing I don't know anything about it. I don't know. And we use the word a lot. It's another word like love. We toss it around and when we quote scripture that says, don't take communion unless you've, forgiven everybody. None of us would take communion.
Yeah, can you imagine?
But there's this with my father, who was the real physical abuser in our house. I wanted to experience a forgive. I knew I wanted to want that. Let's just say I wanted to want it. I'm not sure I wanted it, because I really kind of was energized by not forgiving him.
Oh yeah, that will give some serious fuel.
Yeah, the anger justified
Totally
some of my own behavior, some of my own attitudes and opinions. And I kind of wanted to hang on to those. I liked my anger. I liked my attitudes. I liked it all.
Sure.
And so to kind of want to think about maybe a piece of forgiveness, what seemed like. And at that time, I'd been going to see him for 20 months with zero change. He didn't become a believer, people. He wasn't kinder to my mother. We weren't on the same page. He hadn't reached out to any of the brothers. Nothing at all had changed. And so when he's actually about to get dead, I had to make the confess that I kind of want to forgive, but I'm not. One, I don't know that I fully want it with all of my guts. And two, I don't know anything about it. So just that admission, as smart as I think I am, I don't know anything about actually making a forgive. And so in that moment, that willingness to go bare naked lady and go, I don't know if I actually want one. And I don't know what it is to have one or to give one. And is my unworthiness enough forgiveness, period? Does it have to be so many questions for, at the time, toddler. I was totally a toddler for Jesus. I'd only been a believer people less than 2 years. And so I'm like, and then if you ask somebody, the language is already in place and it still didn't make sense. It just wasn't things that appealed to my logic that I could process and go, okay, that must be a forgive. And so when I was talking to Lord Real Dad about it, when I realized that Raymond was actually about to leave and it was not looking great for him, the Lord Real Dad's offering to me was so much bigger than a forgive. I asked if I could have possibly a forgive. And I realized about a year later what he had said to me was that he was in the room because he loved Raymond. And
Mm.
so when I asked for a forgive, I stayed in my narrow thinking. I stayed on track with a forgive, but he was on track, in a forever picture, right?
Wow.
And
Wow.
so what he loaned me was, I said, "Why are you here?" And he says, "Because I love him." And I said, "Well, I want to kind of consider maybe a forgive." He said, "Borrow mine." And I can guarantee you that on a very 3D physical earth suit level, it was a breath like I had never taken. It was an
Mhm.
exit I had never, it was like all of the breath in my veins
Wow.
was laid out there bare. And it was I think it's as close as I've come to knowing what a glory might be.
Mm.
And it took me a while to realize he didn't say, borrow my forgive for Raymond. He said, borrow my love for him. I think for me, when I want to make a forgive, so I'll be loved more, so I'll look better, so I'll be walking out what the scripture says to do. But the real commandment that he left us with was to be crazy about the Lord. I love him with all my guts.
And
And then be
then
crazy about each other, be crazy about myself. And so
exactly.
the real filter isn't, can you make a forgive? The real filter isn't, can I give to the poor? The real filter isn't, can I talk to people in prison? The real filter is, I know so little about true love that if that's what I want, I got to borrow his. And that, I think, may be a picture of the blood covers everything.
Amen.
And he remained crazy about Raymond in spite of all the things. And nothing was fixed. I thought that whole 20-month journey was
Sure.
for me to get to a place of wanting to forgive him, or
Yeah.
get to a place of telling him about you.
We love a fairy tale ending.
Yeah. And the whole thing was, okay, if he's not going to budge, you can.
Totally.
You can still budge. You can still be affected by this. If he still
Totally.
says no to me, I got something for both of you. You could pick yours up without him picking his up. Well, when my mother died, she lived at our house for the last 5 years of her life. And it wasn't great. I was never the daughter that my mother would have loved to have had. She was she was a very tailored dresser, and she got her words right when it came to the Bible. I did hear her cuss one time, but the word was damn, and it wasn't
That
really.
doesn't count.
And I had been raised by wolves. I had all brothers. I don't know what she was thinking. So I had never measured up to her need for. I'm short, so I got away with cute, but she wanted beautiful. Just it wasn't gonna be my color.
Sure.
So there was this perpetual frequency of disappointment. So my mother lived here. We took care of her, and she really got incapacitated about 6 months after moving in here. She broke her hip. So if she went anywhere, I had to drive her. If she did anything, I had to make her food, slobber, slobber, slobber. And so I kept waiting for similar thing. When will I get to that place of forgiveness with her? Because she didn't protect her kids, and she didn't.
Sure.
She towed the church lady in line,
Yeah.
and she was disappointed that I couldn't. So what will happen there? Well, the last 10 days of her life, she didn't even speak to me. She
Mm.
could, she wouldn't. And so when we buried her, of course, I think I should be a professional funeral speaker. Seems like I do that a lot. Is that a
I
job?
feel like you could kill that, Lisa.
I'm gonna make that a business because I love business. Yeah.
Adds it to her LinkedIn right after this
I want to
podcast.
speak at your Get Dead Day. Call me. I'll cover it. And so I told stories about her, but I didn't know what stories to tell about her as my mother. And
Mm.
so this kind of lingered. She's been gone. And as of this month, it's been 2 years. The other day, we're getting that house that we had built for her ready for my granddaughter to move into for the summer. And I opened a junk drawer, and my mother's watch was there. And I had seen it there a couple of years before. Probably I put it there when I was trying to sort through all of the things. And I opened the drawer and I saw the watch. And I do know that in the past it has kind of irked me. And I saw the watch and I was like, I think it's okay. I think it's okay.
Wow.
And she did what she needed to do. It was a different time frame. I'm not making excuses for her. She really had the opportunity to champion her sons and me. And she chose self-protect. Knowing what I know about our household, particularly blame her, but I was kind of blaming her. But something happened the same way. I was just kind of like, you loved that she was a Bible study teacher. You loved that she cooked in the kitchen of the church. You loved that people really liked her. You loved her. And the fact that she probably loved me but didn't like me can't be part of the equation of whether I love her, because you love us even when we suck. And something just in picking up this watch.
Dang.
2 years later, I picked up this watch and I was like, okay. And there's another thing I can't describe very well, and I know I'm not telling it very well, but it wasn't an encounter, it was an experience. It was a transformation.
Yeah.
Over a watch.
Over a watch.
Right? Over a watch.
Dude, the things you'll find in a junk drawer.
And no, they can trigger us, which I stay away from that word, to be honest. I think you can be triggered if you're in Vietnam and like almost murdered by 30 Viet Cong. I'm not sure my life is enough to say I'm triggered.
Sure.
That's just because I'm old. I'm not sure it really, I don't know about that word yet. It's kind of a 21st century word, and I'm still in the 20th century.
Yeah. Millennials love it.
I know. And I know that it helps them get through some things to go,
Sure.
for now, I need to stay away from the things that make me feel something I don't want to deal with. I think there's wisdom in that to a point, but not a forever self-induced comfort.
Yeah, we're not fencing ourselves and building moats away from all the things that cause us pain.
Yeah. I'm not sure that I don't right now. I'm not at a place where I think that's a great answer. But wait, I think we have to buy ourselves some time, because I had to buy myself, 60 odd years with my father. I had to buy myself 2 extra years with my mother. So we do have to find ways to buy ourselves time. I'm not adverse to that. It's just that word. I always go, I don't know. I do not know what that word means.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
I think there's something to say about the way, like, you're investing your soul in the kingdom, and it returns dividends. And so there's these little deposits of these things, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, over time, this is really compounded into something to invest in something new. And then all of a sudden the Lord's like, I think you can afford forgiveness now. I think you got enough in the bank I think you've been walking with me this block. And I think now we're going to go over here and see what's over here for you. And it's, I think you're right. I think we romanticize that forgiveness will feel like something, that joy will feel like something that, and I think I'm right on track with you of agreeing that, like, it's just a continuing to get to know. You keep going on and time goes on. All of a sudden you realize, wow, Lord, at the end of the day, this all points back to you love us in our fragility, humanness, and our ability to screw it up, and our ability to sometimes do okay. You love us.
And it's not so much, oh, I should do the same because you do it. It's more like, oh my gosh, I get to emulate you. You're going to trust me.
Yes.
To emulate the thing that you feel the greatest thing. You're going to trust me with that. Oh, here's a watch. What are you going to do?
100%.
A watch. This makes me laugh.
It's so good. It's so good. The way he just takes things, and man, yeah. I mean, I love Lisa, I love your ability to give the benefit of the doubt to people. And I think it feels like you've really been baptized with grace. And you're like, you know what? I remember somebody, I can't remember who said this, but a speaker was like, when you get baptized, you get all wet, and people, if they hug you, then they're now going to be wet. And it's like, hey, dude, you're the one who hugged me. You're wet. And I so sense that with you, like you're just wet with this experience of time with Jesus, and people bump into you and they're like, shoot, I got some of it on me, and
I was going somewhere.
Exactly. And it's like the inconvenience of the gospel is pretty radical, but man, yeah. Well, my last question would be, man, there's so many things. If your whole life could preach one sermon, what would it say about God?
The thing, I can tell you what I enjoy a lot about being a believer people and finding out things. I love that they have such a great sense of humor. I think levity is a big part of how they operate. I think that I love the part where when I'm like, dang, why am I so bummed by rejection? Well, I got invented to be bummed by rejection, because he set it in motion that he would be rejected. And it doesn't mean he likes it. In fact, he doesn't like it. Because I'm his kid and he built me, I'm gonna get bummed like that. So when I get to see, people say, do you look more like your mother, your father. The same thing applies with the Lord Real Dad and the Holding Spirit and the brother, the Jesus, right? Because there's times that I like the way the Holding Spirit operates. Sometimes think it's a mom. I think I would probably assign it, maybe not in church, but I would assign it the title of she, because the nurture is intense. And when I nurture, I nurture huge. And it makes me realize it's not because I've learned to nurture because of my journey. I got born to nurture. He
Yeah.
gave
Invented
me
it.
that from the get-go. And I love the places where it's like he's willing to just go, man, what you need right now is a hill with a Mo and Elijah, because your friends are sleeping. And I'm going to send you a Mo and Elijah. And sure enough, somebody will come out that I never even thought about, like calling and saying, you got to meet me for, I'm going to say, a cup of coffee. You got to meet me for a margarita is the truth. So the fact that he just so has never forgotten that the human journey is, one, the coolest thing to get to do, and two, it's not. I think we say it's really, really hard, but I'm not dead sure we know really, really hard.
I
But
agree.
for what I know, there's days that have been super hard. That I love that whole truth that before I just kind of picture them, and before there was even a human, before they'd made an atom, the sun says, whatever we build, I'll go be one. So we'll actually know firsthand what that journey is, and they will know that we were willing to do that, to make that commitment before there was an atom, before there was ever an atom, and to know anything about, what was going to happen for real. It was all, there's going to be a plan. There's going to be a plan. There's going to be great love. There's going to be redeemed. There's going to be a way back. But there was still he's dealing with the Father. There's a mystery.
Yeah.
I love that even the Lord Real Dad will say, if you want to know the mind of me, you got to ask the Holding Spirit.
Yes.
That right there, that's a tight-knit community, right? The trust in there, the whole ability of that. If my life was going to reflect one of those things, the Christ made it very clear, you can overcome.
Yeah.
And I think I got invented with a might for, okay, this sucks right now, and we're going to sit in the terrible. We're not going to
Totally.
rush this thing. We're going to sit in the terrible. But what I
Yeah.
know that I know that I know with all of my bones, it's going to be okay. It's going to actually be kind of cooler on the other side. So I would hope that if somebody met me, I could loan them that when it looks like this isn't working, that I could loan them, I know, but it will. I know, but it will.
Yes.
If I could loan that, I'm not sure I answered your question.
100% you did. Stunning. Wow. Okay, well, this is my real last question because I want to know the story. Why do people call you Sunshine? What's the story there?
I give everybody a nickname, not everybody a nickname, but sometimes after I've known somebody for sometimes a minute and sometimes a decade, I ask the Lord Real Dad what he calls them, because that name thing is a big deal.
I love it. Absolutely.
And you'll tell me what he calls them, and then I call them that. So, and I've done that since I was tiny. I've given nicknames since I was really little. And so I have a friend that's a preacher, Chris Kane, and one of her staff said, I don't think Lisa's an adequate name for you. I think you should be called Sunshine.
Wait, is this Mary Kate?
No, MK, Billy, the one I called Billy.
Yeah.
No, but it's a mutual. She was there. She was working.
Okay, I was like, wait a minute.
That's right. You know Billy.
Yeah.
What's the point? MK is Billy. So it was someone that worked for, and as I worked for it till about the last 3 or 4 years. She's
amazing.
She works for Brooke now.
And so she called you Sunshine, and it stuck.
Called me Sunshine, and it stuck. And so a lot of people, I'm finding a lot of people don't know that my name is Lisa, much less Lisa, and they call me Sunshine. Now, my son laughs out loud, Sunshine, have they met you when you're mad? No. And they're not going,
Sunshine and Thunder on Tuesday.
Between us.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, well, then I'm kindly submitting my request for a nickname from you in the next decade, please, and thank you.
I will ask the Lord Real Dad what they call you and see what comes back.
Gosh. Well, I'm so thankful for your time, Lisa, and just
thanks for inviting me onto your iPodcast.
Isn't Lisa just such a joy? I am going to walk away from this conversation thinking about it for a very long time and just unpacking parts of her heart and what she shared. She is truly such a gift. If you have a free minute, it would mean the world if you rated this podcast on whatever platform you're listening to it on. And if there is a modern day miracle where you have a free 2 minutes, then it would mean the world if you shared a comment on whatever platform you're listening to it on. If you shared a comment on a part of this episode that ministered to you, believe it or not, it really encourages me on the back end of things just to see what's speaking to you. And it is such a gift to get to read those things. And so until next time on the Let Me Ask You This podcast, I'm your host, Evie, and I'll see you next week.